for some boom, baby, boom. Rise and shine, even on a cloudy, rainy day again. Your boy Marquis Saint wants to let it in. It is a very thoughtful morning motivation. I've thought about this all morning long, waited for the right time to go live. Because, my fellow human beings, we have to mind the gap. There is a gap in our minds. It's something I'm discovering. I don't know what else to call this. They say mind the gap or the gap in our minds. But this is coming from England. So when you go to England and you go to the tunnel, or what they call the tube, the underground train, there's a big sign that says mind the gap. And our minds have gaps. It's one of the things that I'm learning, but let me unravel it at Saints Addiction, on time, perfectly imperfect, honestly flawed. Let's dive into the secrets. This morning, I've been watching a movie called The Imitation Game. Now, obviously, I've been flipping through this reels, these shorts that I've been seeing online for Alan Turing beating the Enigma machine. Now, I've seen an Enigma machine with my own eyes. I'm grateful to have seen it. It's a trip. If you want to see it, look at it. It's right here. It's every single one of our keyboards that we've ever had literally are the typesetting that was on the Enigma machine. I found it fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. I was like, what? That's a ASDF, GHJKL, colon. And that in itself was like, holy shit, that's the modern computer. Turns out that's exactly what Alan Turing made. He made a machine to combat a machine. It needed a machine to think like a human being and decipher what another machine was doing. This was saving 14 million lives. I just watched it on live. I watched it for free streaming on YouTube, whatever. You can watch it too. What I'm also watching is espionage. That's right. Espionage from China, them stealing the F-22, F-35 Raptor, and Lightning, three Lightning II from Americans. I don't know, you can't say Americans. The Chinese guy was based out of Canada, started befriending all of these people, aerospace people, GE. Hey, you're in aeronautics. Hey, you're over at Pratt and Whitney. I really like that engine. The whole conglomerate. Basically, it's a send an email. Looks like it has an attachment. As soon as you open this attachment, it infiltrates your whole computer. And these guys were sitting on top of these computers for 5 years plus, sometimes only a month, but normally just anything that you've ever seen was being watched by someone else. And this is the reason why I mentioned secrecy. The double coding of this, and the tough part about Alan's life, and Alan, what's his name again? I already forgot it. Alan Flicker or whatever it was. Poor guy had his own secrets like all of us do. It's one of those things that cops do, right? When police pull you over, it's usually not for the thing that they originally pulled you over. They can farce up anything that they want, and this is why I hate the police, and I'm like, all cops are bastards, ACAB all day. Fuck the police, is because they start shit where there wasn't shit. Alan Linkman, what is his name? I just fucking forgot it all off the top of my head. Like, who solved the Enigma code? It's Alan something. There he is. Turing. Alan Turing. They go into his house. Poor dude. Let's give him a look. You might not know it by looking at him. Well, maybe now in the modern day, but this guy that's about to pop up behind me, if it ever wants to turn on. Yes, I accept all the cookies. No, you're slowing me down. And no, I don't give a fuck about it. This man looks a little gay to me. Maybe it's his overcropping hair. Maybe it's his soft features. Maybe it's his pursed lips. But this gentleman here created the first computer. You wouldn't know it because he committed suicide. The reason he committed suicide is because after World War II was finished, not only was he supposed to be a national hero, but they were keeping it a secret that they had cracked this code. Why were they keeping it a secret? Because they knew damn well that the Cold War had started right after World War II had ended. And anybody that's paying attention to this, World War III has already started too. With the advent of espionage, and I mean blatant espionage, like this is beyond bad. This guy's going to be facing 20 years in prison. Let me see if I can show his face. Mr. Wanted by the FBI. I don't want this thing. It keeps trying to do something I didn't ask it to do, per usual, right? Where is this thing? Where's the? It's trying to play this, but I don't want it to. Let me close it off. Your videos. No, home. Damn it! Come on, man. I'm on live. No, I don't want that. I want to see what I just saw in my histories. Here. Trying to cop this dude. No, I don't want your fucking. I don't want your commercial either, dude. You know, I want to show people this guy's a bit of a mastermind, and it doesn't even want to show it, but he's not alone. This guy, China caught this dude right here, Chunjo. You barely see it. This dude, you can see it right there. Espionage at its finest, caught stealing F-22, F-35 from the U.S. Air Force. It wasn't directly from the Air Force. It was from a bunch of different people, right? Right, like we don't all build everything. It's like much like an auto parts situation, you know, like maybe it got partially assembled in Mexico, maybe the part came from Germany, then came to Mexico, then went to Canada, then went to America. Like many cogs in a wheel, it touched a lot of different parts. And he just started to pick apart, what kind of parts do I want? Same like Alan Turing here. What kind of parts do I want? You know, like codes to codes, it would have taken 22 million years for us to count the amount of options that were getting spit out of the Enigma machine. It was almost uncrackable. Well, he liked encoding. He also liked sending codes since he was a kid to one of his first loves, was a gay classmate who also actually died when he was quite young. So he was really misunderstood. This is what happens. They rip off the phoenix and they turn him into stone, or they get him to commit suicide. Here's the point. The main point of this is that we all have secrets to hide. It doesn't even matter if you're a fucking genius, a secret genius, or a popular genius, right? Everyone has secrets to hide. This is the reason I say this, is because a police officer can pull you over for trumped up charges, like you're out of a taillight, maybe you like your windshield wipers, you got too dark a tint. Then they grab an individual, which I watch all the time, and then they start to search them. Why are you in the Taco Bell parking lot? This is going to be a weird science detective work, but if you look over your shoulder, Taco Bell's right there, and lo and behold, I ate it in my car after. Am I hurting anyone? No. Why do you need to see my ID? Why do you need to start to track me? Because you're starting an investigation into secrecy. Here's the thing. Everyone has secrets to hide. I can go into a cop's car right now and there's the cigarettes that they smoke, the caffeine that they drink, and the alcohol that they probably drink while they're driving. We are all human beings. This is why I love Saints Addiction. Perfectly imperfect. Look, it's already been peeled up. You can barely see the other half of my design. That's fine. I appreciate mistakes, right? Like this is what makes us human. I also am very honest about my failures, and I'm also honest about my shortcomings. You know, it's like I go live to talk to nobody. Nobody's going to watch this. I'm up against how many thousands of cogs were there to unlock Enigma? How many thousands, if not 10,000 YouTubers are out there? I'm one of them. I didn't expect to be called a YouTuber. I just used this platform. You might as well call me a periscoper, because I used Periscope before I ever used YouTube. The point being is I'm up against a lot of competition. People that want to be heard, people that want to show their intelligence. I think that's what I'm doing. Like I'm going to educate someone. I'm creating a open dialogue and a classroom. What do we used to call that? Lesson plan. That every day is a lesson plan. These are thick lessons. They're hard to comprehend. So I go live every day, and every day I have an epiphany, if you will, an enigma, an encoding machine. The thing that unlocked for me today was that all of us are human beings. All of us have double spies, secret espionage that we don't like to share with other people. The thing that struck me about Alan here, good job, Alan, for unlocking me. And maybe if I can pull up the other movie too. Let me see. Control Alt Shift T. Did I close it off? There it is. The Imitation Game, right? Was that he was like kind of like talking. He's like, it's like encoding. And he was like, what do you mean kind of like talking? And he was like, yeah, well, people say things that they don't necessarily mean all the fucking time. And that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing us as human beings, as these fragile creatures, just like myself, that sits there in my head going like with dread, or maybe with some awesome or something that's inside of my brain to say that these things are happening inside of me, right? Like not having a relationship with my father turned me as into psychology. I wanted to be my father's. I wanted to be my father's boss, was really what it was, but engineering was too hard for me. It also made me want to overactivate myself. Let's try to get the screen more lighter, but it's not working. To educate myself to understand human beings. This is why I chose psychology, and this is the reason why I love doing saint psychology. I love going deep into the human mind and go, why do I have depression and Yoni doesn't have depression? Why is it that my friend is so helpful, so kind, and never angry, and I can be very deceitful, a liar, and a drug user, right? Like, why was my abuser my father, my mother, and that turned me into a depression survivor? Why would I have to start so many business at Print an Hour, Intersect.ai, Mostly Saints, Saints Addiction, Las Vegas Original, and over 100 domain names to just show my dad that I was jumping off the high dive and not making a mistake and falling flat on my stomach? I belly flopped so hard it turned my stomach green, guys. My dad jumped in. It's like the first time he actually showed me that he loved me. He didn't say I love you. He just jumped in. So this is based on a true story, as you can see. But all of us have this emotionality inside of us. I'm more emotional than my friend. He seems to just be okay with life. He doesn't need weed, but he drinks beer. And he's like, you don't touch my beer, I won't touch your weed. And I said, perfect. We're a match made in heaven. Scorpio, Taurus. Now, my Scorpio parents, very aggressive. How did they get into so much love to so much hate? I felt like the pendulum swung both ways, but that's their relationship. Now when I'm trying to have relationships, it leads into my daily life, right? Like my relationships always seem to be finite. Like anybody could turn on anybody at any moment because I've seen it with my own eyes. Some people are more trustworthy than others. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's I have an inability to connect with someone and trust someone so intimately that I don't believe that they have secret or hidden agendas behind me. Possibly, you know what I mean? There's your boy. Oop-a-doo-doo. Thumbnails and videos. Maybe it's easier to just go this way with it. But this is all human beings. You look in anybody's car, anybody's files, anybody's computer right now, they're bound to have something that they're trying to hide, all right? I was watching it the other day. What was it called? AshleyMadison.com that busted 35 million infidelities. That could have cost suicide, divorces, and money and jobs and potential and your figureheads, people that are in the military. They had a lot of .mils and a lot of .govs. Government officials were messaging people talking about, I want to cheat. We all cheat. If you're not cheating, you're not trying. And that's what I see. I see a lot of people pretending to be, right? Like when I was watching the other girl the other day, she still cuts her hair tucked back and she still does her little makeup. What was her name? Loving Jen again? Okay. Love Again Jen. I think that's what it was. But, you know, she's great at writing on the whiteboard, and it's something I did as a teacher and something I want to do, but it's not my style. To talk about spirituality and have all the different colors and markers. No, you're getting one black marker from me, and I'm trying to show you what's going on in my brain. That's a hard thing. Go live every day. Expose your own lies. Expose the difference between your saintlyhood and your addiction. You know, this truth shall overcome everything. And what is truth, right? What do you believe to be true? And I look at my brain sometimes and it'll believe certain things. Like I was watching Mel Robbins, which I should also pull up this morning. You know, and what she was saying was, you know, hey, if you're going to tell your brain one thing, might as well back it up with the push-ups. I always talk about the mental push-ups and tell it something different. So that way, if it believes what it wants to believe, then why not tell your brain how to manifest and how to think? It's constantly trying to help us. But in my brain, I feel like it's against me, right? My brain will get into depression mode. I'm not achieving. If I'm not achieving, then I'm depressing. If I'm not married, then I'm not successful. If I'm not making money, then I'm nothing. And I'm sure I'm not the only human being thinking this. I'm like, all these human beings, beautiful human beings, 88 billion of us on this beautiful planet, and all of us obsessing over one thing: not to lose power, gain money, and enjoy our lives from there on out. We want these things because who doesn't want to enjoy something, right? Like, I mean, we all want to enjoy our lives and be able to be splendid enough to say that I can flick my wrist and go eat whatever I want, do whatever I want, anytime that I want. This is what we all want, right? We all want to be able to have that ability to be able to say what we want to do, snap our fingers, and it will become a reality. We've seen that in money, so we believe in money. And then some people will say money is God, and some people will just say they believe in God, and some people will even get competitive on God. It's called piousness, and to show people who's the reality. I mean, I was even watching like a former porn star that was just like, have you seen how pretty my pussy is now trying to be Miss whatever this girl is here. She's trying to be Miss self-conscious. You came back? Oh, okay. Trying to be Miss I found the Lord, and I wasn't a porn star a minute ago. This is this girl right here. Go ahead. Get over yourself, bro. I'm overlooking at you. This girl, to convince people that she's found God. Look how tight the shirt is buttoned up, right? I mean, it was full on cosplay a minute ago, and now she wants everybody to believe that she's found Jesus and she's a God lover and she thinks differently now, and that's all a possibility. I was also watching your girl, and I don't remember her name, but she's stuck with a bunch of NBA players, had a couple kids with them, divorced them, tried to get the money, and now she's wearing a full Muslim garb, but her makeup is still put in together. I'm saying that that's the lies that we tell each other, right? We tell lies all the time because we want people to believe that we are these things. This mask right here, the third mask, not the personal mask. You'll never get that from somebody. You have to sleep with them, fuck them, or fight them to actually see what they're really made out of. That's why I say people are so close to each other. And then, Chigata, enjoy your day, bro. Hey, enjoy your weekend. Yeah, bro, love you. Chigata. And for some of us, right, we'll live in that lie. We'll die on that hill. We'll be like, that's what I am. And for poor Alan Turing, he did die on that hill. Right after he saved the world, they exposed him as a homosexual, which was against the law. And I think they prosecuted almost damn near 40,000, 70,000 men that were homosexual to stop them from being homosexual. And in a weird way, they gave them hormonal treatment, almost like chemical castration, to get them to stop this. It's not the first time in human history that we've done this. In fact, that's what eunuchs are in China. They actually had to carry their genitals on them at all times, and they're the only ones that were allowed inside the palace. It's a total power play, but just to make sure someone doesn't sleep with someone. Here's the kicker: someone is sleeping with someone. In the mammals, which we are, like kangaroos, they actually switch up. While the two biggest males get muscular and taller and fight each other, some of the girls will dip off just to keep the gene pool mixing up, right? They're going to go find a lesser mate, so it's not just big dudes, big dudes, big dudes. We need big dude, smart dude, big dude, smart dude. Think I'm the only one? Ask a girl why she not want a taller man. Ask the girl why she doesn't want Division I player so they can have Division I athlete children. We're not the only ones to practice eugenics, or is it dysgenics? Eugenics is the ones where we try to kill each other, but who's the most dominant species? Who has the most bluest eyes and blondest hair? We went there during this war, World War II. And it never stopped, for everybody playing the double-edged sword. There were Soviet spies in amongst their midst, and they let them in so they can actually see what they were doing. And even these guys, when I'm looking at the cheap Chinese and they're trying to steal, this is why we don't trust them, is because they steal. You know what I mean? They try to steal intellectual property, but they can't replicate the technology. This is the difference between keeping it real and for those that want to put on airs and pretend that they've changed. They're easy to manipulate. The thing that they haven't stopped doing is, like she said, raising her prices 4 different times, still have content online, and still did what they did in their 20s, but they want to repent in their 30s, and I'm a born-again Christian. I have a friend, Johnny Yakovic, who actually tried selling pencils in the Midwest, the Bible Belt, to a bunch of people that said they're going to help kids and students and get them computers. And then I was in prison with a South Korean Nigerian or was he the Nigerian, or was it the Filipino guy? I think it was the Filipino guy. The Filipino guy had worked for FEMA and used his FEMA access, like, to tell this girl, one of the ladies in South Korea, to invest because she was going to help all these children with computers, and they end up busting him in Manila while he was gambling. Can you imagine him reaching back his hand and trying to throw the fucking dice? Yeah, I couldn't imagine either, but there he was in front of me in the same prison as me, translating for me to the head officer. Like, they brought this guy in to translate for me so I could talk to the head captain. Anyway, he had done some really heinous shit, and he's not the only one. There's all sorts of people, the pedophiles that do heinous shit, people trying to do white collar crimes, and even espionage, right? This thing is on everyone. And what really shocked me about human beings is that it's all of us. It's not just one person. It's everyone that has secrets. Everyone has something like, don't look into my phone. You talk about trust in relationships. And the one guy said, what? He changed his code? She popped it in again. When she looked up, it looked like a punch on his screensaver. When she looked up, he knocked her out. Obviously, we shouldn't be hitting each other, right? Nothing's worse than when I see like a woman just smack him. What were you thinking? Instantly, it's abuse, and it's triggering for me. I was abused as a child. It wasn't cool. I look at my friends who just showed up. They've never been spanked before, and they don't spank their children, and I'd like to think that they're happy, healthy, and productive individuals in society. When I was trying to start relationships, I would say, are we going to spank our kids? And she would say no, and I would say yes. And she'd be like, what? And I'm like, yes. No means no. It's like, yeah, but you can say no a different way. A lot of ways to skin a cat. A lot of different signs, zodiac signs, a lot of different habits, and also a lot of different upbringings. This is why we try pair bonding people. This is why we try doing, what's it called with the marriage? Organized marriage? No, that's not it. What's it called when they make you marry someone from a different family that they already know? And of course you'd want to know them. You know the Joneses, right? They're your next door neighbors. Got a hair in my mouth. We know them growing up. So we paired people together. What is it called? Arranged marriages, right? And in an arranged marriage, you'd be like, well, I know their family, I know their style, and I know their stock. So I want my chicklets to mate with their stock, and their chicklets to mate with my stock. I'm just watching another chicklet push other eggs out of the nest because it wasn't one of those chicks. Actually, one of the birds, I think it's the cuckoo bird or whatever, comes over, lays eggs in other nest, right? Other nest, so that other birds can raise their offspring. You would never know, And this little bird, something's wrong. There are 3 eggs. This one hatched first. It starts pushing out the other ones. This isn't nature. This isn't like a deceitful genius that was trying to crack the code so that way he could be found out to be gay and exposed later so he commits suicide. No, this is just all of us trying to do our best at life, having secrets that take place and things that embarrass us that we want never to see the light. I talk about this light all the time. It's Freudian's light. He said there's a light inside of a house and it flickers to and from. There's some places it never wants to go, but there's still light that's up there. And it's in some of the darkest places. The places we don't let anybody know about. And then Saint's addiction, that's what I wanted to talk about. Why am I addicted to my weed? Why am I addicted to these things? Why am I not happy-go-lucky? And why do I suffer from depression sometimes? It's a real question, and we're going to go outside and have this conversation. This is what ends up happening. This is what ends up happening to our minds and our lives, and this is the gap that we need to mine. We got to mine this gap because it exists in all of us. There's a realm that all of us don't want someone else to see. That embarrassing thing that we did in high school. That we're not that person anymore. That we can all change and be something different every time. Hopefully you learn from some things. Yesterday I was talking about virtues, right? And I was talking about sins. You got your virtues. Ow, I hit my elbow. And then you got your vices. It's all of us. Don't worry, it's still a shady ass day, but it is what it is. And this is what ended up happening inside of our minds, that we would live a lie, that we would die on that hill instead of being honest and open about it and exposed. We rather have it hidden. And that's just what he was saying. Like, that's like talking. And he was like, that's what he was like, what do you mean talking? And it was like, oh, that fresh air. God, man, I love coming up here. It's the freshest air on earth. I swear for God, all this forest and so far away from human pollution and population. But it was that we say things that we don't mean. We do things to say to entice each other. The girl said, he's going to come over and talk to me. Should I introduce you? She's like, no, I made a smile and I haven't looked over in an hour. And then the guy went over and goes, she wants me to go talk to him. And everybody said, how do you know? Because she smiled and hasn't looked over since in an hour. They both are playing the game. Like, who's that guy over there? You should introduce me. He's like, oh, he's a bit of a cat, so he's my type. So she already chose the guy she wanted to approach her. What a magic mind fuck to go like, I'm going to make this guy approach us. How do you know? Because I smiled at him and I haven't looked over at him since in an hour. And the guy said, game afoot. Let's go over there. Introduce me. And he was right. The game was on. She did entice him and she did want him. This is just what was really happening. But this is what life is like. You know, it's a whole game that we look at each other and we think about things really quickly. Join me, club. Hold on. Saints addiction. We say things we don't mean, like nice to meet you, even though we haven't met them yet. And we look at each other like, hey, is this guy a junkie or is he going to do things? I have to take a picture of these flowers because they all bloomed recently. Look at that. Look at those girls go. Let me click on this real quick. But isn't that what it's like being a human? That we register things really quickly and we see things. What's up, Adam P? Thanks for saying hi. You know, that we look at things and say what we don't mean, right? And then we infer different things like, you know, when I'm seeing some crackheads out here and they leave needles, is this the gap between our minds that was really something in my life when I was just like, wow, this is a fucking full-on trip. The way that we talk to ourselves when no one else is listening. We're the only ones that listen to ourselves. We're the only ones that hear the shit, and if it's going to be abusive, we're the only ones abusing ourselves. If we go inside of our heads and tell ourselves the only thing that's going to save me is a beer, you know, the only thing that's going to save me is this fear. What if, and then instead of putting I think I can, we'll pump ourselves full of the negative and be surprised that negative emotions come out or not negative manifestations of the thing that we were concentrating on in our subconscious. This is literally what Freud was talking about. And everybody's talking about the Oedipus complex. Hello. And everybody's talking about, I wouldn't even say hello. You know, like people are weird. And yet we're so interesting. We'll see somebody and be like, yeah, not my type of person. They'll never understand me. But we're more human than anything. Always taking shits, always breathing, and always fearing. Look at us. We're a curious little human creature. But most of us will say, what are they wearing? Are they junkies? What is their skin color? And then we make a whole assessment, just like Alan Turing's machine that broke the Enigma code. We're doing the same thing, just buzzing our heads, clicking through the numbers and going like, is he gay? Is he black? Is he a she? We confuse all sorts of things. And this was the gap in my mind that I was talking about this morning. And it really fucking opened up my life, but it's so true. We see people and we go, is it male, female? Is it dangerous or safe? We make assumptions so fucking fast, so many calculations that we are the Enigma machine. That's what was minding the gap. The gap between our thoughts and our actions, the gap between what we say to ourselves and what we say out loud, the gap in our minds that allow us to exist in real time. This is the whole thing where we swear we're not living in our minds, but we do. We live inside of this prism, this house that we built when we were 8 years old, and that light flickers to and from. We go up into the attic and we go, where has the light gone? And that's what we're like. We're like fucking trees in a parking lot. You know what I mean? Like some of these things don't add up. And all of us are like that. All of us have something wrong and something right. And that's why it was mostly saints where I come from, because it was like, you know what? Not everybody's halo is so shiny, and not everybody's horns are so pointy. We all have the ability to tell a little white lie or do espionage. We have this capacity to be of great imagination and complete deception. It was such an interesting gap between the human form that all of us are like that, and that we pretend that we're not like that just so you don't see the interface that we are talking about. Interface, isn't that funny? That's what computers are. But the inner mask that's closest to us, because we'll be judged, will be crucified. Some people will be fucking hung up on the fucking cross and burned alive. You don't believe me? Ask Joan of Arc. Oh wait, you can't, because they burnt her. They didn't understand her. And that's where I brought up Alan Turing, and that's why I brought this up today, because they rip off the and they turn it into stone, literally like a statue. Years later, sometimes they even go back and break the statues. You could be like what's those people called that went in and bought the Hamas? No, it wasn't Hamas. ISIS went back and broke it off all the faces from the Buddhas, and you're just like, hey, I'm in this I almost said hospital. I'm in this museum today to witness this half a face because some other asshole took place 100 years ago and had it in his head that it doesn't belong. And this is why we act like this. We are of a human species that still want to be paired together, man and woman, to feel safe next to each other, to want to eat together. We are that way. Whether you like it or not, we are mammal more than anything. And if you don't believe me, ask the elephants that I was talking about yesterday. When they sensed each other, guess what else they got? An amazing sense of smell. So if we're a human mammal, guess what? We can only smell kind of good, right? If you give it to a dog, 10,000 times better. If you give it to an elephant, try 10x again, and they could smell the baby in the chick's belly. Better than a fucking test kit. They all came up to him. All the females could sense life, the smell of it, and the energy in the girl's womb, and start coming and touching her belly. She just barely found out she was pregnant, but guess what? Elephants can detect it. Much like the dog smelling cocaine on the statue of Jesus. I heard there's the cocaine Jesus. They tried to make a whole statue out of cocaine and smuggle it in, and obviously the dog went apeshit. But this is what it's like. There's the sensation of being a human being. Hello. That we're all human. That's like I said hello from my heart to her, not because she's fat or smoking a cigarette. I'm out here smoking a joint. I got weight to lose too, but because I'm human. Because someone gave life, and that energy's around us. That's what we see. Not the hijab or the makeup or what we pretend to be, but that energy. Hello. Even if they don't want to share it, he still saw me. And even if he walks away without saying hi and wants to be fiendish about it, guess what? I got my fiendish apology. Apparently, the multi-millionaire that was hanging out and I haven't heard from since over a couple months ago just sent me a message, and my buddy said, congratulations, you just got a fiendish apology. And I'm like, it wasn't even a real apology, but that's what we're like. We're not really apologizing.